Hello. I think I'm live. Sarah Jarosz here on the American Songwriter page. Thanks to American Songwriter for having me. I see the little eye. People are strolling on in. Hello from Nashville. It's kind of a cozy rainy day here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to play some songs from, I have a new record coming out on June 5th called World on the Ground. And I'm going to play some songs for you from it. I'll start off with the first single that came out back in March. It's one called Johnny. Johnny's on the back porch drinking red wine. He knows that it could be the very last time he raises the glass up to his lips and wonders, how could a boy from a little bay town grow up to be a man, fly the whole world round, and then back up on the same damn ground he started. You might not get what you pay for, you know that nothing's for sure, and an open heart looks a lot like the wilderness. Lately he's been thinking about the meaning of time. This small amount we're given must be some sort of crime. Yet the little we have feels like too much most of the time. He takes another sip of that blood red wine, just waiting on the stars that will never align. A little luck, a little love, a little light, and you'll be doing just fine. But you might not get what you pay for, you know that nothing's for sure, and an open heart looks a lot like the wilderness. So open up your heart, take it out, put it back in. Signs are all around you, let it begin. You might not get what you pay for, you know that nothing's for sure, and an open heart looks a lot like the wilderness. You might not get what you pay for, you know that nothing's for sure, and an open heart looks a lot like the wilderness. Thank you. Well, the folks at American Songwriter have sent a couple questions in for me to kind of talk about the new album in between some performances. It's pretty great getting to wear slippers for all of these performances these days. Um, so they asked me about that song Johnny. You know, it was the lead single off this new record, and it was actually one of the first songs that I wrote for this record. I think this week, actually, it's May 18th now. It was exactly a year ago this week that I started working on the record with producer John Leventhal, who he's been one of my heroes for such a long time, musical heroes, and he had kind of risen to the top of my little list that I was keeping about dream producers and who I might want to work with for this record. And I was so stoked that he was game. And we recorded the record at his home studio in Manhattan, and we kind of did it. I guess if we started this time last year, it was the second half of last year, and the record's coming out in a little over 2 weeks. I'm so excited for y'all to hear all this music. And so they asked me, what is the meaning behind the title of the album, World on the Ground? The title actually comes from a song, the second song on the record, called Pay It No Mind, which is kind of written from the perspective of a little bird up on the 7th floor of a building, kind of looking down at the world. And it was, as a songwriter, it was kind of almost an exercise to kind of get out of my own brain and myself and kind of think about, this little bird just looking down at the world and kind of taking a different perspective. And I feel like that's a lot of what this record is about, is stepping outside of myself and trying to embody some other characters and look at the world from a different perspective. So that's kind of where the title World on the Ground comes from. I'll hop into another song here. This was the second single that came out. And this was actually one that I co-wrote with John Leventhal. And he had, on the record, it's kind of a piano-driven vibe. And he kind of had I've never really written like this before, but he had the tracks sort of all recorded and the music written, and he played it for me, and I was just instantly transported to my hometown of Wimberley in Texas. And I'll sing the song and then talk about it a little more after. In the shadow of the cypress tree, I stumbled in its tangled roots, surrounded by the tree's forgotten leaves. My knees were bloodied, hands were bruised, while I was down upon the muddy ground. I dug my hands into the I think I found it now, and nothing else will do. A heart that burns so true, burning orange and blue. Overtaken by this fever dream, I kept digging underground, tried to figure out just what it means to find a thing that can't be found. 'Cause I think I found it now, and nothing else will do. Heart that burns so true, burning oranges and blue. I'm still kneeling by the water's edge. The sky is black and thunder rolls. But now I hold this heart within my hands, and I won't ever let it go. 'Cause I think I've found it now, and nothing else will do. A heart that burns so true, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue, burning orange and blue. Orange and blue. There you go. Oh, I'm just seeing the comments now. Hi guys. Oh wow, lots of England folks. All right. Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's see some more questions here from the American Songwriter folks. Oh yeah, so they were asking what was the inspiration for that song, and I kind of started talking about it before. Yeah, it was really kind of just as soon as John played the melody for that, it was kind of, in general, I'm a very slow lyric writer. I think that's the thing I kind of take my time with. Just kind of piecing lines together over the course of many months. But something about that melody that he played, it was just like this rush of strong imagery of, like I said, my hometown in Wimberley, Texas, especially the cypress trees. There's a creek that runs through the middle of Wimberley called Cypress Creek. And yeah, it was almost like that line about the overtaken by this fever dream, that's how it kind of felt writing that song. It felt like a dreamlike state. So yeah, that was, I did quite a bit of co-writing with John on a few of the songs on this album, so I feel like I learned a lot from actually just having the chance. In general, I write the melodies and the lyrics, together and kind of put it all together at the end, so it was a good exercise to just focus on the lyrics for a couple of these songs. How do you prepare for a co-write? Well, I mean, kind of similarly to what I was just saying, every co-write is very different. In general, I was actually for many years kind of very opposed to co-writing, just because I had, songwriting for me started as just being alone in my childhood bedroom, and it was a very kind of solitary, almost sacred space that feels sometimes a little scary to open up and share with other people. So I kind of put it off for a long time, and then eventually enough people encouraged me to give it a shot, and I was able to try it with some good friends. On my last album, I wrote with some great friends, Jed Hughes, Parker Millsap, Luke Reynolds. Over the years, I've been able to write with Daryl Scott and Tim O'Brien, and just learned so much from those types of co-writes from some of the greats. But yeah, I mean, with this record, I was pretty certain that I wanted it to kind of just be really focused on the music that John and I were creating. And so I didn't actually write with anyone outside of just John. And then I wrote the rest of the songs just by myself. But yeah, I think you have to have a certain level of being open, and then also knowing what doesn't work, and not having your ego in a co-write is very important, and being able to kind of just say, all right, that's not going to work in this session, maybe it'll work for something else, or just being kind of free with ideas and kind of keep it moving tends to work. All right, I'll do another song. This just came out this past Friday, the third single from the record. And, Austin. Hi, Dale. And Monica from Wimberley. So awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the third single called Maggie. Look away while you still can. Close your eyes, say goodbye to this strange land. You never thought you had it good. In high school was just football games and processed food. You've been picking through the weeds too long, surrounded by the echoes of a dream gone wrong, and running through the fields that led to nothing but a song you're singing in your head. Drive across the desert in a blue Ford Escape. Hopefully this car will live up to its name. You got 90 miles out of town when you started thinking you should turn the car around and go back home to your reckless dad. Maybe this time he'll convince you that it's not so bad. But then you snap back down from outer space and stared into the rearview mirror at your face. Your swollen eyes and beaded sweat, tattoos on your forehead and around your neck. Drive across the desert in a blue Ford Escape. Hopefully this car will live up to its name. Drive across the desert in a blue Ford Escape. Hopefully your car will live up to its name. Maggie, are you listening in your blue Ford Escape? Hopefully your car will live up to its name. The birds started singing on that one outside. So many sweet folks. Thanks for watching. Yes, we do all want to drive across the desert right about now. That's good. Let's see some other questions. Who are some of the artists and writers who have influenced you? Well, I feel like that's actually really important with this record. I mean, in general, it's like, who are we musicians without our, the people who have come before us, just all building on top of each other. And with this record, I think when a couple of the songs that I started writing kind of, were showing me that I was interested in writing about my childhood and a kind of upbringing in Central Texas. and mostly kind of the imagery and the landscape of that area. Naturally, I kind of realized that my favorite music, so much of my favorite music is from Texas. So many of the great singer-songwriters. I mean, geez, the list is long. Lyle Lovett, Robert Earl Keen, Sean Colvin, Guy Clark, Rodney Crowell. The list really goes on. Townes Van Zandt. I could go on and on and on. And I think I've something that's been bringing me comfort being at home, stuck at home, has been actually listening to some of the records that you kind of dig into when you're young, and when you hear them later as an adult, they kind of transport you. Or even not if you're young, but anytime a record transports you back to a specific time, that's kind of one of my favorite things that music can do. I had that yesterday with this Eric Taylor record. I think it's just self-titled, but I've been listening to that record my whole life because my parents used to always put it on, and I kind of revisited it yesterday, and it's just one of the best. And it just kind of, I was just sitting in the living room, and it transported me back to my living room in Texas with my parents listening to that record. Yeah, so I mean, the Texas singer-songwriters, that's a really rich music history there, and I'm gonna actually finish off this whole session with a song by one of the best, the great Nanci Griffith. I've loved Nancy's music for a long time, and I actually was playing this song on my shows when I was touring my last album, and so I thought it'd be fun to do now. Nanci is great, and yeah, what I guess there's one more question here. What advice would you give to aspiring songwriters? Oh my goodness. I mean, it sounds cliche, but truly just keep at it. And I think, as I was just saying, zero in on the people that you feel transported by, and kind of study. I think I really studied a lot of the writing and the patterns and different imagery and the details of great songwriting. That's kind of, I feel like, where it's at, is in the details. James McMurtry is someone who I forgot to mention earlier. And just kind of study your favorite songwriters and, try to find inspiration and then, make it your own. I think it can be one thing that I've talked with some of my friends who are musicians with, is that when you do music for a living, you can kind of get caught up in, all the extraneous stuff that goes along with being in the music business. And some of my friends always say, like, I actually haven't been listening to music. And I think it's simple. It's a simple thing to say, but just listening and staying inspired is the number one thing. So that's my advice. And this song is certainly something that inspired me, and it feels like a good way to end this. So thanks so much to American Songwriter for having me. This is actually, I'm doing a lot of first live things. I did my first Instagram live a few weeks ago. This is my first Facebook live. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I will leave you with this. Oh, I wish it would rain and wash my face clean. I wanna find some dark clouds to hide in here. Oh, then a memory sparkles like diamonds when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears. Once I had a love from the Georgia pines who only cared for me. I wanna find that love at 22, here at 33. I've got a heart on my right and one on my left, and neither suits my needs. No, the one I love is way out west, and he never will need me. And I wish it would Wash my face clean. I wanna find some dark clouds to hide in here. Oh, love in a memory sparkles like diamonds when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears. Two-stepping shoes and head for the Gulf Coast plains. I wanna walk the streets of my own hometown where everybody knows my name. I'm gonna ride the waves down to Galveston when the hurricanes blow in. On the Gulf Coast the water tastes sweet as wine when your heart's rolling home in the wind. And I wish it would've rained to wash my face clean. Some dark clouds to hide in here. Oh, in a memory sparkles like diamonds when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears when the diamonds fall. It burns like tears when the diamonds fall, darling. It burns like tears. Nancy Griffith, one of the best. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Sarah Jarosz, and I hope y'all are hanging in there, and I will see you very soon. Again, World on the Ground comes out June 5th. Check it out. Thanks so much.